driven by a purpose at XAPPMedia to give consumers a voice and connect them with content, artists, and brands. And when we started just 2.5 years ago, we saw an enormous opportunity in internet audio. When I say internet audio, I mean all forms of audio: music, news, talk, podcasts, everything. There's enormous opportunity because there's a fantastic content consumption experience that's better than anything else in mobile. We've learned a lot. And in fact, if you're going to be daring and different, you have to be committed to learning. So we've learned a lot in the last 2.5 years, and I'd like to share with you a little of what we've learned. Internet audio advertising is broken. Actually, when we look at that great experience, it's building a fantastic audience. Last year, there was over 160 million people listening. This year, up to 170 million and up to 192 million by 2019. This is good. And if we compare to Facebook, everybody thinks everyone's on Facebook all day. Well, in the time spent in digital media, more than twice as much time is spent in internet audio than in Facebook. Well, if that's the case, why is Facebook worth so much? If we look at the numbers, they're representing at Facebook 6% of digital media time spent, but they've actually are making 10% of the ad spend in digital media. That's a $2.5 billion surplus. So how are they doing that? Look at internet audio, on the other hand, 12.7% of time spent, but only commanding 4.7% of the actual ad spend. That's a $5 billion gap. Facebook is generating 4.5 times as much revenue per time spent as internet audio. You've got to ask why. How could it be that different? Well, mobile ad performance requires two things: this great content consumption experience, which internet audio has, but combined with a great content interaction experience. With Facebook, Facebook has both, because Facebook relies on sight for consumption and touch. And sight and touch work hand in hand. They're what we call aligned. But internet audio is misaligned. It relies on hearing for consumption, and touch for interaction. That's broken. Let me show you why alignment of consumption and interaction matter. This is why it matters. This isn't a technical problem. This is the most important slide I'm going to show you today. If you understand this slide, you understand why internet audio advertising is broken. This is what your phone looks like when you're listening to internet audio. And if you hear something compelling, you fumble for the button and you swipe, and this is what you get. There's significant friction involved in engaging users by touch, especially because when we're listening, we're typically doing other things. We're exercising, we're walking, we're driving, we're doing things with our hands and eyes other than touching the phone. And that really creates a problem to engaging listeners. In fact, by our measurement, we've been live for over a year with Zap, and by our measurements, 79% of the time, the phone screen is blank. The app isn't even visible on the screen while you're listening. So that's why touch is broken. The great Muhammad Ali taught us a long time ago, you cannot hit what you cannot see. And those words still ring true today for internet audio. Touch isn't working. Friction is stymieing the interaction. So let me show you, going back to that blank screen, this blank screen here, what I'd like to do is demonstrate. Imagine if you had this.
Let's do a brand new day. Let's step away from the bland and let the color fly. Let's get to the one store with more number one choices. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. To get a 15% off coupon, after the beep, just say Home Depot.
Home Depot.
You got it. We'll send you your coupon now.
Not much friction there, is there? And I don't care if you're in your car, this works on Bluetooth, with earbuds, in noisy environments. We've engineered this to make it easy. And we put the words on the tip of the user's tongue. This is the opportunity to give your users a sense of control. And there are all kinds of actions you can drive. That was particularly a coupon that would get emailed to the person, but you can bring them to a page. I listen to a podcast, and I wonder how people they really have to be motivated to really help the podcaster. Because it'll say something like, just go to MikeO'Meara.com/Amazon_store. How are they going to do that? All you have to do with Zap is say, Mike O'Meara. Boom, we take them directly to the page. So all kinds of actions are available. You can send coupons like I did for the TV industry, set reminders for shows. You can take people to turn-by-turn directions. You can download apps. Download app, by the way, is the single most valuable ad that's run on Facebook. And one that I particularly like, especially in the local markets, is Connect Call. The local advertising market is a $130 billion market annually in the US, and half of that is to drive phone calls. Imagine if you had this.
Send flowers today with Blooms Today. Blooms Today has flowers for any occasion, whether it's for graduation, anniversary, birthday, or just to say I love you. We have the perfect arrangement with guaranteed same-day delivery. To speak to a Blooms Today representative after the beep, just say Connect Call.
Connect Call.
Got it. We'll place your call now.
This is a live call to Blooms Today.
Thank you for calling Blooms Today.
So it really changes the game in a very, very dramatic way. And it's not just for advertising, it's for content too. And we're seeing a lot of this active inertia in the market. People are so worried about their user experience, they're afraid to do bold things that make the experience better. Tom told us yesterday, your brand needs to give users a sense of control. And when you bring Zap to content, you're doing that. You're giving them the opportunity to do contests and voting and polls and listen to a particular new type of content that you're promoting. So I'd like to show one example of that. Listening dark screen.
Check out all the hottest music on our Today's Hits station. To play this station now, after the beep, just say, listen now.
Listen now.
Got it. Coming right up.
This stuff is fun. And if you're in this business and you really want to turn people on, bring this to the table. It really, really makes a difference. So earlier, actually, I wanted to mention that voice isn't just a novelty. It's driving really great numbers. These are numbers that we've measured with our partners. So overall, in internet audio, touch interaction is a 0.1% response rate. That number is not shown here. 0.1%, that's 1 in 1,000 response rate. What's shown here is the numbers that 79% of the time when the app isn't even visible on the screen. The touch interactions drop to virtually 0. Meanwhile, with voice, the interaction rate is 4.8%. That's 48 responses per 1,000, and this remains steady whether the app is visible or not. So the numbers are significant. So I told you before about this alignment of content of consumption and interaction. I want to look at Facebook for a second. This is this visual experience. With a visual experience, you have visual attention, so touch works extremely well. We have hand-eye coordination. It's a natural thing. When you're listening, oftentimes the phone's in your pocket or in your purse, and you're listening, and touch doesn't work very well. You can't get to the thing. But voice works extremely well. So it's critical to get this to get interaction aligned with consumption. When it's visual consumption, touch is aligned. When it's audio consumption, voice is aligned. That alignment removes friction. And when you remove friction, you make engagement simple, spontaneous, and convenient. That changes everything. So you may be saying, this is great for users. So what? What's it do for me? Well, what it does for you is it creates premium content at CPM rates that are off the charts higher than you're used to. So national advertisers will typically pay $5 CPM for audio. We have all of these national advertisers that are paying north of $20, and they're getting a great return on their investment. And we've got a lot more advertisers, dozens more, that are lined up waiting for Zappified inventory. They need inventory. So the same thing with agencies. The demand from agencies and brands is beyond the inventory that we have available today, and that's further supporting this premium inventory. Let's look at what the opportunity is on the money side. Most people in our industry today are chasing this $2.75 billion. It's that active inertia that's got everybody competing with each other in this space. We're worried about our user experience. We're worried about the content, about the copyright royalty board like it's Damocles' sword hanging over our head. Is it going to wipe us off the face of the earth? That's the wrong way to look at it. There is a way bigger opportunity here. And another thing Tom said was, you have to take, for your brand, you have to take people from awareness to belief. I hope today that I've helped to create some awareness. And I don't expect you to believe, but you gotta believe. You gotta believe. This industry counts on you believing, and there's a much, much bigger piece of this pie that's available to internet audio. And we're working with partners who do believe. You gotta believe if you wanna be going for the bigger piece of the pie. So, giving users a sense of control is important. What we're doing is making internet audio work better. Better user experience, better engagement, better monetization. And that makes it work better for listeners, for artists, for advertisers, and for publishers. So give consumers a voice. Thank you.